Hello everyone, welcome to ESRL Season 3. We are back with Elite Settings Racing League, and it's time for the first race of the season, much anticipated. I cannot wait, and it looks like we have no NER Ayrton. No, okay, no, I was just I was just not seeing him in the list. He is here, the reigning champion. Just a second. There we go. Okay, I just need to put the stream in the chat, in Discord, and I will start commentating. Hopefully Sumo gets here. Okay, right. I've got my water, so Womax has left the session, which is not an ideal start. But anyway, I have unfortunate news. I am ill, which is not ideal. But that is not going to stop me from following. As you can tell, from following what is going to be some incredible action here in ESRL. Toledo, there we go. It looks like the first driver to set a lap is going to be a newbie, F1 Vetsku. So we'll ride on board with him for a lap of France through turns 1 and 2. Got to be so committed through here, otherwise you lose a lot of time. And that looked really good from Vetsku, to be honest. Sumo has joined the party, which I'm very happy about. Welcome, mate. It has been a while since we've been in the box together. I'm just going to continue commentating on Vetsku's lap as he comes through the latter part of Sector 1. And that is looking very good from Vetsku. New to ESRL, not seen him before, but doing incredibly well here from what I can see. Through Sector 2 now, up towards this turn, you've got to ride all the way over the curb, and he's done that well. But, oh, that's a big mistake on the exit. He's not invalidated the lap, but it's going to be a struggle for him to regain that time back in the latter stages of the lap. He can definitely do better as he comes through to this never-ending right-hander all the way through, and then accelerate out as early as you dare, and on the throttle towards the last stages of the lap. Final few corners here for the Williams driver as we come down to the final 2 corners. We've got to enter wide and exit inside as he comes through the final corner. It looks a pretty well hooked up lap from Vetsku. Other than that mistake, I'm sure he can improve. It's a 1:31.3 to set us off. And welcome to the commentary box, Sumo.
Hello. Sorry, back-to-back streams. I had to take a bit of a break in between the two of them, but I am here now. But yes, it's back. Keeps me back in the box. It's been a very long time since I'm bumping, so I was saying. Just earlier in Tier 2 as well. Myra come through in the other Red Bull. I've got no audio, so this is incredibly weird.
Oh god, that's horrible. Well, Donev, there we go. That's the first real contender time from the Alpine driver. We know how fast he is from last time. And he takes pole position for now. TF Mar 10 just behind, 6.5 tenths down though, and Speed Alcoholic, who we know is extremely fast, 8 tenths down on that pole time. That's a fantastic opening lap from Donev. As Speed Alcoholic, I'm just going to post my stream in the chat because I haven't done that yet. There we go. Right, the main Wayne P4, I believe the Tier 2 champion, if I'm not mistaken, Division 2. He's been promoted for this season and is doing well so far there in P4. That's to P5, who is on a lap 8, has gone off circuit.
Just about to finish a lap here. It's 1:32.7, not the most competitive, but it puts him into P10 full time here.
This is the man to watch, the man in the Aston Martin, Ferrari last year, but it's NER Ayrton, the two-time ESRL champion, reigning two-time champion as well, as he comes through Sector 1 in that Aston Martin, a change of team. Still got a awful default helmet, but we'll gloss over that as he comes through Sector 2.
Like a decent lap for short Marcus in the Alfa Romeo. It is a 30.7, puts him to P3 for the moment, just a few hundredths of a second away from TF Mario.
Yeah, short Marcus is absolutely one to watch. He is the sprint champion from the sort of between season sprint championship in ESRL, and he dominated that championship. So definitely one to watch this season. By the way, the man in second is Mar 10. He was very adamant. I was also calling him Mario to begin with, but he said it was Mar 10. So.
You know, guessing names comes with the territory, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. NER Ayrton through the final couple of corners. A very interesting line there at the penultimate corner. Last corner misses the apex though, so could be better from the Danish driver. The reigning champion, what's it going to be? It's a 30.3. He's 2 tenths off Donev, even with a below par final corner. So Ayrton back on form as we all expected. And back at the front of the pack as Nate Clark, the man who challenged him for so long last season, but kind of fell apart towards the latter end of the season. Won 3 races on the bounce at the start of the season, but then it all sort of came apart later on. He is in a Haas this season, and he is looking to challenge the front runners again as he comes through Sector 1 now.
I might very quickly leave and rejoin. I hope my audio comes back.
No problem.
Incredibly strange.
If you need another invite, let me know.
Yes, please send us another one just in case.
Just a second then. Sorry to blue screen you all. There we go. But yes, here we are. Nate Clark coming through Sector 2 now, or rather Sector 3, because Sector 2 is basically just 2 corners. We've got an Alpha Tauri that's going slow in Sector 1, I think that was Woomax, but Nate Clark, no, Woomax has just joined, so it must have been Racing Wheel. Nate Clark coming through the final couple of corners now, up to the penultimate corner, takes a similar line to Ayrton, but cuts very much more inside than Ayrton did. And much better on the apex of the final corner. What's this going to be from Nate Clark? I don't think it's going to be near pole, but it's 6th place for the challenger last season, 1.1 seconds off the pace. He'll be really hoping that he can improve on that, I think. Mar 10 is just starting a lap as well, so we've got to keep an eye on him. As Robinet P11, meanwhile, the Season 1 champion Amir is slotted in P10, his Mercedes teammate P12 at the moment. Quite a spread of pace among the grid, but that's to be expected when you've got drivers like Donev and Ayrton in the lobby. As Mar 10 comes through Sector 1, just 17 thousandths of a second down on his previous best, so definitely can still improve on his time as he opens the DRS down towards this left-right chicane.
My audio is back. But now I can't change camera time. Oh no. Maybe I can. Thanks, Codemasters. I
Oh,
really
you've gotta
appreciate
love it.
it.
Yeah, Martin 2.5 tenths down on his previous best in Sector 2, so I don't think he's going to improve, but Denev is just starting his lap. Oh, that's a big moment out of Turn 2, and that's an invalidated lap for the Alpine on provisional pole, so he's going to have to try again later. Speed Alcoholic also just about to start a lap. Yeah, we had we had lobby problems earlier as well, didn't we, Sumo?
Yeah, we certainly did. Nothing new in F1 2022. I mean, you'd think they'd have fixed it by now, but yeah, it's probably the third time I've said that this evening. But you know, my point still stands.
Yes, indeed. Speed Alcoholic invalidated in Sector 1, so a lot of that is happening at the moment. A lot of drivers really trying to find the limits and going a bit too far. Robin coming through the final corner now in his new Ferrari colours, after being, I believe, Aston Martin last season, or maybe that was Sprint. But he comes across the line. It's not it is an improvement, but it's not an improvement in position. He stays P11 despite improving 2.5 tenths. So still some pace to be found there. There's a significant gap actually between 9th and 10th.
Here comes Avi. He's taken out a break. He's taken out a board on his way down to the line, but he's a few tenths up on his lap. He goes P10, just ahead of his teammate Amir. These two teammates, once again, every time I have been here, they've been teammates for the last, except that one season where they weren't. No love lost between the pair of them at all.
Absolutely, yes. That was season 1. They were direct rivals in different teams, fighting for the championship. And Amir was the eventual champion. But ever since then, they've been loyal teammates, and they've been great together. So it's great to see. They are, but currently 10th and 11th though, so not ideal for them. But that midfield is incredibly competitive this season, by the looks of it.
Yeah, certainly. Watching the main lane now coming through the penultimate corner. There's lots of different lines you can take through a lot of those corners in Sector 3. As we've seen, but main lane coming out of the final corner now. Very important to get the exit just right and carry momentum as he does. Wow. He goes knocking Martin down to P4, taking that 3rd spot.
What a lap from the Division 2 champion. That's fantastic stuff from him. P3, I don't think even he would have thought he would reach those heights today. He's gone well across the track there. I'm not sure if that's legal in ESRL. The stewards might want to have a look at that one. But I know it's not legal in some leagues, but I'm not sure about this one, so we'll see. But regardless, Short Marcus has invalidated. Into the pits he goes. Speed Alcoholic
Neil next final couple of corners. He'll be in the next car to cross the line in that Alfa Romeo. He's down in P13 at the moment. I didn't see sector time, so I'm not sure if he's up or not. Bit of a moment on the final corner. That's going to hinder his momentum down the line, and it does. He was on an improvement until then.
That's a shame.
Here comes Ayrton.
Here we go.
There it is, 29.9, first driver to reach into the 1 minute 29s, and has thrown down the gauntlet for Denev, who is currently in the pits, but I'm sure he might be able to find some time. This could be quite the battle for pole position indeed.
Absolutely, the reigning champion back on form. He's not rusty at all. Look at that, 29.9, straight up to pole position, no problems at all. And everyone else left in his dust, really. Womack's coming around the final corner to set his first lap of the session, the Bulgarian, in the Alpha Tauri for this season. As he comes across the line, it's a 32.4, puts him 16th. Not ideal for him, unfortunately. The toe coming into the pits, he still hasn't set a lap. I would imagine it's mostly due to invalidations. That's usually the way on this circuit. Aces versus Kings is not improving. Vetsku, is he improving in the Williams? I couldn't see because the comment marker just came up just as the time came up, but the Williams coming through the final sector now, the last two corners. What can he do? New to ESRL, he's set a decent banker and he's gone into the pit, so he's made me look like an idiot. Thank you, Vetsku.
Oh dear. Find out else is out on the lap. I think Aces maybe. No, he's down on his time. That's an in-lap from the McLaren at the moment. Need to get detail up. There we go. Now I can see better.
Apparently in Division 2, meanwhile, which is happening at the same time, Lifebouts has just reported they've got rain at the end of their race, so that's going to be interesting.
Yes, there was some quite fitting French added in there as well, but we won't pronounce that. I know, Rick, we will not pronounce your comment.
I think that might be German, but regardless. We've got most people in the pits at the moment, everyone leaving it until very late, but of course if everyone leaves it late, then you're all going to be bunched up and it's going to be difficult to set a proper lap, so we could have some shenanigans going on in the last part of qualifying here. Martin, is he giving his teammate a tow? Yes, he is. So good teamwork from the Red Bull pair, as Myra is 2.5 tenths up on their time. The Finnish driver coming through the chicane and up towards the end of Sector 2. What's it going to be? Across the sector line, 6 tenths up. So Myra could be going all the way onto the second row here, or even better, if he can improve even more, down towards the never-ending right-hander. It looks good from the Finnish driver, and through the final sector, this is going to be heart-in-mouth stuff. It always is when you're that far up on your time. You've just got to be careful not to mess it up as he comes through the final corner now.
Car number 7 looking to really rocket up that timing board at the moment, coming through down towards the pit straight now, down to that timing line, looking to really make a stir in this qualifying session. 30.8, put himself up into P6, not as high up as he was maybe hoping, but a much better needed improvement.
That's a shame. He lost 2 tenths in the last sector there, so could definitely have been P3. But a few mistakes have cost him there. Short Marcus coming to the line. Oh, he's about to start a lap in the Alfa Romeo, so got to keep an eye on him. Mar10 in the Red Bull has just started his lap as well. NER Ayrton is on an out lap. Donev is starting his lap. It's all the big hitters starting their laps now. The main Wayne as well. So I think the main Wayne, is he coming to the end of his lap? No. Yes, he was, and 130.6. But it was not an improvement by the looks of things.
I think he might go again. He's got a lot of battery to do so, but he spins at turn 2.
No. Disaster for the Division 2 champion. That's going to be his qualifying over, so he's nothing he can do now. He's just got to hope that no one else beats him. Martin barely, fractionally down on his time through Sector 1. Sector 2, same thing, 7 thousandths down, so it's all on the final sector for Martin to see if he can get himself into P3. Short Marcus is coming through as well, just behind in the Alfa Romeo. Got to keep an eye on him. Myra is not on a lap, of course. Speed Alcoholic is just starting a lap in the Ferrari, and Nath Clark as well is on a lap through Sector 1, but was quite a long way down through that first sector, it looks like, so I don't think he's going to improve. Vetsku has invalidated. That is 0 seconds to go, qualifying over. Martin coming up to the line. What's it going to be for the Red Bull? Is he going to challenge the front 3? No, he's not. It's down on his time. Lost it in Sector 3. The main Wayne is off track. Donev is coming through as well.
2 tenths up through the second sector. That was a purple second sector for the Alpine as he makes his way through that. A very long right-hander. I know it's got a name, but I can't remember it as we come into this next corner that's got a few lines to take. And in the following corner has a few to take as well, the penultimate corner of this French Grand Prix circuit, hoping that the Alfa Romeo in front isn't going to hinder him too much. A very decent run through that final corner. Here comes Donev, opens up the DRS, going to get the tow as well. This could help him get ahead as well, and it does at 29.7, so it's all on Ayrton.
But he can't respond, he's invalidated. NER Ayrton is not going to be pole position for the opening race. The reigning champ beaten to it by Donev. Speed Alcoholic, P3. Brilliant lap from him to get himself there. Short Marcus demoted to 4th. And I think that's your qualifying. His aces on the lap. Yes, he was 10th. Great stuff from the McLaren. Womax, he's on a lap as well. His final one of the session. DRS open, up to the line comes the Bulgarian. What's it going to be? 15th for him, but he does improve one position, so we'll at least be happy with that. But what a qualifying that was. Dunev taking pole position right at the death.
Wow. It's looking like a season that might be fought between some heavy hitters, Dunev and Ayrton among them. Speed Alcoholic is not averse to making a mix when it comes to racing and getting himself on that top step. I know we've got some previous champions as well, Short Marcus and the main Wayne, proving why they're in this league, especially our previous Tier 2 champion.
Absolutely, very impressed with the main Wayne there in P5. That's a fantastic lap from him, coming up from Division 2. So keep an eye on him as well. But Short Marcus, I think you've got to keep a side eye on. Absolutely, he's P4 for this race, and he'll be very happy with that. But I think he's had a rude awakening on just how fast everyone is in this division, especially the heavy hitters at the top. But I'm sure he'll be fine. Dunev, the Bulgarian, takes pole position by 2/10 from the reigning champion Ayrton. Speed Alcoholic P3 at the death. Short Marcus in P4, the sprint champion. Main Wayne, Division 2 champion, P5, and Mar10 joins him on the 3rd row. And then 4th row, Myra and Avi. Nath Clark and Aces on the 5th row. Vetsku and Amir next up. Robinay and Lostock. And then Wumax, Neil, Alfred Chow, Racing Wheel. And the Toe was unable to set a lap at all through the whole session, which he's going to be gutted about.
Yes, he certainly will. Very easy to invalidate your lap around France. Very easy, especially in the 1st and 3rd sectors.
Absolutely, it's can be a bit of a lottery sometimes, and I think we're going to see plenty of track limits penalties, that's for sure.
And there'll be plenty of racing action, I think, to France. Well, maybe not the best race on the real F1 calendar. Does tend to put in some decent performances in the virtual world.
Absolutely. It's similar to what's the other track that produces good races virtually? I think I have a water bottle with all the tracks on that I got for Christmas, so that helps. Oh, I can't remember which one it was, but there's a few tracks, put it that way, that don't produce the greatest action in real life, but in our virtual world they can be great, and this is one of them. So Ayrton and Dunev are going to battle. I think Dunev in the past has faltered to Ayrton despite being similar on pace, just because he doesn't have the strategy that Ayrton has had. Last season there were a couple of races where he just started on the wrong tyre, as simple as that, and Ayrton just had him. He fell back a couple of places and that was it. So it remains to be seen whether he'll do the same again. I'm not sure if Formation Lap is on. We'll find out.
It might be. I've just seen the lobby got updated. I was just paying attention to how all the pit boxes are different. I've never noticed that before.
What do you mean they're different?
Their markings are different on all of them.
Oh, right. Huh, that's cool.
Never noticed that before. Yet they still can't move the pits for careers. Oh.
Well, it looks like almost unanimous tyre choice. Everyone on hards except 9th and 10th. It's interesting that the only two not to go on hards are in the same row of the grid. Nath Clark and Aces both starting on the mediums, so their progress will be interesting to keep track of.
Aces historically is not averse to an alternate strategy.
He is not, that is absolutely right. Neither is Nath Clark, to be honest. He's used to like the ultimate strategy last season as well, but it's a bit of a shock to see him down in 9th, to be honest. With that qualifying session, maybe just couldn't get his lap together, maybe doesn't like this track. It's difficult to say, but yeah, he's got a lot of work to do, put it that way.
Yeah, perhaps brushing off some of the dust as well.
Yes, definitely.
You know, having a Christmas break, you know, a few weeks of racing, off racing, it's bound to do that to you.
Yes, exactly. As we come through the final sector now, so getting ready to start formation lap. Of course, on this year's game, in the formation lap, you can put yourself on your grid slot, but you've got to do it right. If you go even a little bit too far, it will reset you back a couple of meters, and you'll have a much more compromised start. So you've got to get it right, and it can be difficult to do. Although I think we're going to see a fair few X has been disqualified from the session appear at the bottom as everyone takes their grid slots, because if you do go over, that's the message that comes up for the spectators. So,
oh, someone's had a bit of a spin, not a speed,
oh,
he
yes.
spun into the wall. No damage on the formation, thank you.
Yeah.
Spun as he was making his way to his grid slot.
He'll be
Got a
frustrated
ride
with
on
that.
board with the main lane for the start, I think, just to keep an eye on the Tier 2 champion.
Well, that's a shame. There's the first one.
Commentator's curse strikes already.
We haven't even started. And here we go. I'm about to get ready. Racing Wheel as well. This has done the same thing. 19 cars on the grid for the season opener. It's a fantastic turnout. And here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. And we're underway for the French Grand Prix. It's a fantastic start for Ayrton, the reigning champion, as he goes round the outside of Deneuve onto turn 1. He's ahead before the corner, in fact, as they come through turn 1. Who's going to come out in front? It's going to be Ayrton, and then there's a bit of side-by-side action in the back. Mercedes and a Haas going almost off the track there, as Aces all the way up to 7th on those mediums. Nath Clark as well following him, as we've got yellow flags already. That's Robin has gone back, and that's a Haas all the way off. Who's that?
Nath Clark, it was Nath Clark. He went off, he got scared off the track or something along those lines, but he went straight off the circuit.
Oh, I wonder if he's going to get penalised by the stewards for that. It looks like he's got a penalty by the game already, but Deneuve looking for a move perhaps down the inside of Ayrton, not quite going to make it work. Speed Alcoholic right behind them at the
Aces
moment.
and Avi going side by side there, that better grip doing wonders for Aces as he makes his way up into P6.
What a start for the McLaren driver. Started P10s, that's 4 places up for him, as he chases up to Martin. Speed Alcoholic down the inside of Deneuve at the long right-hander. He can't quite get it done, but he's scaring the Alpine into defending here as they go through. Short Marcus is right there as well in case anything happens. What an exit for the Ferrari, but he's made a huge mistake trying to get past. He's managed to hold it. Fantastic car control, but he has lost 2 positions as a result, and the South African is going to be frustrated with that. Ayrton leads by 8/10 over Deneuve as we end lap 1, as everyone files across the line. Fastest lap, of course, for him. Nath Clark into the pits, must have damage on that Haas.
It's a shame for him. Riding on board with Main Wayne, he got very much swamped on that start, as he had Martin, got an incredible start off the line. See him up into P4 at the moment, but then the likes of Speed, Aces and Avi and even Myra are all getting involved, and Main Wayne finds himself in P8, but a respectable start from the Tier 2 champion, and Aces doing very well as well. I'd say for Speed as well in the last race I watched him, and I think he just needs to calm down a little bit, and he's made a lot of mistakes, especially in that wet race, and mistakes is what costs Speed a lot of his time in these races.
Yeah, absolutely. Same could be said for me at that one, but we'll gloss over that. Aces on those medium tyres. He has made full use of them on this opening lap and into lap 2 now. He's right behind Speed, and he's going to be a real threat here. Deneuve has managed to stay within a second of Ayrton for now, but how long is that going to last? We are now 1.06, 1.09, 1.1. He's really struggling, and Ayrton is just showing his class at the moment in the Aston Martin. No one can catch him, and indeed he is out of DRS range. I can't see Deneuve catching back up, to be honest. The race pace, as we've seen it before between these two. Ayrton just has the superior consistency in race pace to counter Denev's quali pace, as there we go, we see another mistake from Denev, just to prove my point.
Yeah, certainly Ayrton is, there's a reason he's dominated a lot of these championships over his time here in ESRL. I know he's certainly proving that on the track today.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, the Mercedes made good starts as well. Avi P7, Amir into the top 10. Vetsku just behind him in 11th on his debut, so do keep an eye on him. It's... Sorry.
Got McLaren and an Alpine going side by side down the main back straight here, and Lostock not quite able to make the move as the toe just had that little advantage with the slipstream from Neil ahead of him.
Yeah, it can be tricky to overtake at that point because the other car gets such a good exit when that happens. But Lostock looks like he might be going for it again. That gap is very, very small between the two of them. Oh, what's happened?
Someone's taken out a board there.
Oh.
Not sure who that was, didn't quite see it, but I just saw pieces of board flying around. Maybe it was Womack's.
Perhaps. Well, remember, absolutely no assists in this league at all, as Neil and the toe go side by side as they go up towards turn 1. Is Neil going to come out in front? I think he is, but there's DRS on the Alpine. There's the McLaren just behind that's challenging them as well, so very difficult between these three. The toe nearly into the back of the Alfa Romeo as they go through turn 1, but just about avoids him. But yeah, no assists at all in this league, so taking out brake markers can have an effect because drivers can't see their braking point as easily on some corners. So ideally you want to avoid it, as now these two right behind this Alfa Romeo still, and DRS down this straight, but I think Neil has a lot of straight line speed in that Alfa Romeo on his setup, because these two can't seem to get any closer to him, even with the DRS.
I think Neil might be using a little bit more ERS than is necessary. He's got 25% left in it, and he's using it now, as it seems. I think he feels the threat of the two drivers behind him.
Yeah, quite possibly. As they all file through. No major overtakes as of yet. Donev still sitting about 1.6 behind the race leader, as Short Marcus is ready to pounce as well if there are any further mistakes on the Alpine, as is TF Martin. Marcus and Martin were both very quick in the sprints, and did very well indeed, but Martin just the less consistent of the two. And that's what really took him out of the fight, because otherwise he would have been in the fight for the title, but he wasn't really at any point. So if he can rake in that consistency at the 50% races, then he might have more of a shot. Speed Alcoholic right behind them as well. No further mistakes from the Ferrari after earlier, as he files through Sector 1. Still going to have the DRS, but at some point it's going to be difficult for them to follow, and Aces has already dropped off on those medium tyres, so he's used them as much as he can, but he's going to struggle in the second stint. Yeah,
he certainly will. The other drivers have been on much faster tyres as well in that point, but he started down in P9?
P10,
so he managed to get P10, so he's got himself a decent enough advantage. There's contact!
Oh.
That's a huge crash! That is a huge... Neil had... whoa! I'm going to have to go back and watch that. I was watching that whole thing. I can't even go back.
Well, ghosting is off.
Yeah, it is off, but that should be a safety car, surely.
You would think. They're right in the middle of the track.
Masters. Oh my god, it is
there we
finally
go.
Way too late, as Dave Clark nearly lost his car there. But a lot of drivers into the pits. But yeah, it looked like the toe went for a move on Neil. There's a little bit of contact between them, so the toe went round. And I think Lostock just came onto the scene a bit too hot and tried to avoid, but contact was made, and the two of them find themselves out of this race. That is unfortunate.
That's very unfortunate indeed. First 2 DNFs of the session. After they were fighting so well. Pretty much all of the top guys in for medium tyres, so either they're going to stop again as Neil gets a drive-through, which is very, very unfortunate for him. He's going to be right to the back once the safety car comes in, but yeah, I'm not sure if they're looking to take those mediums all the way to the end, or whether they're going to go onto a set of softs at the end, or perhaps a set of mediums. Neil, has he got another drive-through?
Don't know. Can he get 2 drive-throughs?
I'm not sure. I mean, it just said all it displays is that he's got 1, but I'm sure that notification came up twice. But anyway, but this is, I'll tell you who, this is good news for Aces versus Kings. Onto the hard tyres, he's going to be able to go all the way to the end. But he's found himself behind Racing Wheel, which he's going to be frustrated about. Because Racing Wheel didn't pit. Neither did any of the top 5, sticking with their hard tyres. That's Avi, Myra, Vetsku, Umet, and of course Neil. And then Racing Wheel further back as well. It's gained a few, but not as many positions. But yeah, that's an unfortunate crash, and we do have the safety car neutralising the race. And it looks like Short Marcus, by the way, has jumped Denev in the pit lane.
Wow.
So,
perhaps, yeah, perhaps some traffic getting in the radar. I mean, there'll be no teammate, but it might have been the team ahead that blocked the exit of Denev, making him lose that place.
Yeah, either that or there is a little pit lane mini game.
There is,
so
yes.
maybe mistimed that, and that's lost him the position. With a bad pit stop, so we will see. But Short Marcus in a net 2nd place at the moment, which I'm sure he's going to be delighted with. But the car ahead of him is absolutely not going to be easy to even challenge, never mind get past.
Yeah, certainly so. But, I mean, Denev could, maybe, it all depends on the restart. I mean, if Avi chooses, depending on when Avi chooses to get things going again, once we do go back to green flag conditions, I mean, these safety car restarts really do throw spanners into the works, but if I know NER Ayrton, and I have only been here a few times for commentary, but this man is always the man to beat.
Absolutely. There's not much to be done when Ayrton gets out in front. That is just race over more often than not. But yeah, he does have these 5 cars in front of him to navigate. Of course, Neil's got to go into a drive-through, but it still could pose perhaps a bit of a delay, at least, to Ayrton. I think he will sail straight past them pretty quickly, but maybe Short Marcus can take advantage of a bit of a delay if it happens. We will see. And Denev is right there as well. Don't forget about Martin or Speed Alcoholic either.
Might be a quite speedy safety car period. I mean, didn't get many speedy ones in the Netherlands over in APPF1. We had 3 very long safety car periods.
Yes. Yes, we did. All caused by one driver. Not ideal, but yeah, we do have safety car in this lap. If there's another safety car, we've got to do a helmet review, because I do see some helmet changes from last season and from the sprints, so we've got to go through those. But the race is about to get started again, so no time at the moment. But it's Avi who will control the pace on those 6-lap all hard tyres. He decides when to punch it.
It's got from the moment that safety car peels into the pit lane to the start-finish line to the side. So he's going to back everybody up, get that safety car in, give himself as much time as possible. When will Avi go? He hasn't gone yet. He's still weaving, getting warmth into them tyres. I think he's gone just now.
So. Oh no, he was a bit slow coming out, but I think now he is gone. Yeah, he is in that Mercedes. So, but it's a good reaction from Myra right behind NER Ayrton, already past Neil, who's dropping positions left, right, and centre. What's happened to the Alfa Romeo? I'm not sure, but they're all being asked to let him back through. Oh no! Huge crash. Short Marcus is gone. Neil is the cause of all of that. TF Mar 10 as well. I don't know if Ayrton got damage, but that is, you've got to say, Neil has got to not let them through there. He's just got to race his race or go in the pit lane. You can't be doing that. As Ayrton's
got damage.
Yeah, he's got a missing end plate, so it's carnage here, and it's all caused by one Alfa Romeo, I'm sorry to say. Speed Alcoholic right behind, looking to take advantage, and suddenly the South African finds himself with a real shot at winning this race. Of course, Deneuve is the one in provisional first place, or net first place at the moment, but Speed is not that far down as Deneuve makes his way past Womack.
Wow, and Neil has not only given Ayrton some damage, but he's also affected his teammates' race as well, dropping him all the way back. Both Alfa Romeos sent spinning. I think Deneuve went right around the outside and kind of clipped the two of them. But 3 into 1 doesn't always work, and that was a good showcase of that.
Yes, it was indeed. Very tough incident for all of them involved there, but especially the Alfa Romeos. There's going to be some love to be a fly on the wall for those team talks after this race, but Speed Alcoholic right now going down the inside of Womack, already getting that move done in towards turn 1 before the corner, and 1.5 seconds is the gap to Deneuve. He is not out of this race by any means as Ayrton holds on. He has not chosen to pit.
A fierce battle has ensued.
Oh, another safety car.
Wayne and Aces. I think someone's crashed out on circuit or retired out on the track perhaps, but that's going to put a dampener in that. Wayne was challenging Aces for P8 there and was trying and find a way around him. Maybe a bit of contact just there from the main Wayne. That could give him a penalty. It looks like he's lucky for the time being.
Indeed. But Neil now out of this race after causing untold carnage, and he's caused another safety car, which is not great, but it's perfect news for NER Ayrton. Is this man ever going to get a safety car which doesn't benefit him? That's what I want to know.
I don't know. I don't have the answer to that question. There was a brief period of time in my illustrious racing career. I mean, I was looking at the stats the other day. I've only got 4 wins under my name. They all came from one season in sprint, and that was the one time I actually showed up. But in that season as well, I had some incredible luck with some safety cars. So I know what that feels like. It's feeling the very bracing presence of a lucky safety car.
Indeed, absolutely. No doubt he's into the pit lane. Yeah, there he goes. The reigning champ. So he's going to lose a fair few positions. Speed Alcoholic stays out. Deneuve stays out, of course. Womack also stays out there in P3. So Ayrton is going to drop, it looks like, to P11 because of all the people that have stayed out. Womack is interesting, as is Racing Wheel. They've both stayed out on the hards they started on, which, you know, it's certainly a decision. And in fact, Ayrton down to P13 in the end in that Aston Martin. So a long way back for the reigning champion. There's Robinet as well, right behind. Short Marcus, a long way back for him as well. He's going to be well, both gutted and a little annoyed, I would think, with how his race has upturned today.
Yeah, certainly so. And I think Womack and his teammate can be good prospects for drivers trying out maybe the soft tyre in their second stint, especially if we have another safety car after this one, which will just extend the life of tyres for those hard runners yet to pit.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not often you get a safety car around France, but we've had 2 in 10 laps, which, you know, it happens, especially with ghosting off. Deneuve leads the race, of course, on those medium tyres. I don't know if we're going to be in this lap. It's going to be tight. We've got Alfred Chow is the car at the back, just catching up. I think we're going to be out one more lap. as they come through that long right-hander. Yeah, it's going to be one more lap, I think. So I think we've got time for a helmet review soon. It's always the most exciting time of the season. I'm sure you all look forward to it. Denev gets an instant 0 out of 10 for a default helmet there. Speed Alcoholic. Now, I'm not one for giving 10 out of 10s for helmets, but this one I think comes very, very close to it. Do you agree?
Well, it's one of the ones you can't change like the design on, isn't it? So I think that sort of strikes it down that point or two. But it is a very good kind of helmet. I mean, Codemaster's got a stance for releasing a bunch of rubbish when they release cosmetic content. So you know, this is probably one of the better ones. So a high score for sure, maybe a 9.
Well, that is one you can change the colours of.
Oh, it is. Oh,
yeah. So
I don't know.
And he's
maybe
put
it
it
is
in.
a 10 then. Oh, yeah, I like that lime green that runs along the back as well.
Yeah, it's Springbok colours as well for South Africa. So yeah, I think that's a 10 out of 10 for Speed Alcoholic. So if he doesn't win the race, he's going to win the helmet war, that's for sure.
Yes.
Woomax, it's difficult to see that one from this angle, but
I did have a look at it earlier. I think he's still celebrating Christmas Ghost.
Quite possibly. Well, in that case, I'll give him a 7 for his Christmas spirit. Aces gets the default 0. The main Wayne, is that just pure blue?
I think so. There might be a bit of white running along the sides,
maybe. Well, you know, I don't mind a solid colour helmet. Usually, it's not that bad. So I'll give him a 6 for that. That's not too bad.
Oh, Martin's got quite a nice sort of grey and red one. I've always liked Carlos Sainz's helmet designs.
Yeah,
that's sort of similar to that. Then yeah, that's a high one for me. I think maybe a solid 8 if I can see it a bit better.
Yes, absolutely. Racing Wheel gets a 0, and Avi, that's a pattern we will leave for another day, I think, is the best way to go for that. We'll quickly cut from Matt's helmet pattern as we go back up to the front, because the safety car's coming in, and it's up to Denev when to punch it. Speed Alcoholic right behind him, putting him under pressure, saying to Denev, it doesn't matter when you go, I'm going to be here. And there he is, and Denev has gone, but Speed has gotten a fantastic reaction, as we said, and down towards turn 1, he's got a real shot at this. He moves to the outside, but Denev moves to block him because confident that Speed was not going to make the move there, and indeed he didn't. So no, that's Woomax. Woomax gone.
Oh,
huge crash. Oh, Aces is out as well. That's so unlucky for the McLaren. And who's that? The main Wayne getting caught up in that as well in the Haas. That's really unfortunate. We're not going to have another safety car because we just had one. That's how the game works. But Ayrton up to P10 thanks to that. Avi and Myra swapping places. We've got nearly 3 wide at that final corner of Sector 1, but Myra holds on. Avi right there. Vetsku is looking for a chance as well in the Williams as they come towards the next corner. Vetsku round the outside. It's going to be inside for the next corner, and he goes for it. Fantastic move from the Williams driver on his debut, and he makes the move on Avi, but they're still side by side. We've got Myra as well with Racing Wheels side by side up towards this right-hander. He's made that move. Avi stays in P6. Nath Clark up to P7, taking advantage of Vetsku as Racing Wheel drops another position, and it could be another one very shortly on those 11-lap-old hard tyres. He is really struggling.
Nath Clark very close there, running out of road almost as he tries to go around the outside and getting himself a 3-second time penalty. I saw that gap closing from the off-board
he's gone
as he
for
goes for it. Oh, very, very ballsy move, and he gets it, and Vescu's going to follow him through.
It's NER. Ayrton is here as well, getting past Racing Wheel in that Aston Martin. Up to P8 goes the reigning champion, I'm sure, at this next corner, and he does make that move. So he's on the way up. He's on the rise, and Nath Clark is there as well in P6. A little mistake out of turn 2, but wow, that was that was one hell of a brave move from the Haas driver into that penultimate corner.
Really, certainly was. Oh my gosh.
Wow,
So
wow.
the other Haas laments in the pit lane after being caught up in that earlier, very unfortunate incident.
Yeah, that's really, really sad for the main win. He does not deserve that at all. Nath Clark down to P7. Meanwhile, Vetsku getting past him in the Williams driver, having a fantastic debut at the moment. He is. And he will, I'm sure, get those mediums to the end. There's 14 laps to go. They'll be a bit screaming at the end, but I think it will be okay. Whereas Donev, Speed and Martin might struggle. Who's that spun? I think
Wayne.
Racing Wheel?
Wayne.
Ah, the main Wayne spins again. That's unfortunate for him. Bad to worse this race. As Speed Alcoholic still right on the tail of Donev. They've already opened up a 3-second gap to Martin as Ayrton overtakes his old rival from last season, but not for long. Nath Clark encroaching over the track, and indeed he's gotten an illegal overtake and been told to let his old rival back through. That's got to sting.
Yeah, I think it might have got a little bit heated in that final corner there. It looked like the two of it looked like Nath Clark did go off the track. There might have been a bit of contact perhaps between the two, prompting the illegal overtake.
Yeah, so Ayrton up to 7th and on his way up the field. Donev and Speed pretty soon, I think, are going to see the reigning champion on their radar as soon as he gets into the top 5, and they're going to think, oh no. Meanwhile, Robinet, guess who? After such an unlucky start to the race, he's up to P8, getting past Nath Clark, who's really
Clark
struggling.
has damage.
Ah, that's why. That
Missing
makes sense.
his front right end plate. I think that move he made was ballsy, but it cost him some time.
Yeah, quite possibly. So, unfortunate for him, but self-inflicted, I'm afraid. Amir looks to be the next one to get past him. As Short Markers also recovering up the grid. He's up to P9. We've got yellow flags. That's the main Wayne again, Division 2 champion. He's having a nightmare after getting caught up in that incident. Such a shame for him, but that's racing for you. It's cruel sometimes. As Donev sets the fastest lap of the race, Speed Alcoholic 7/10 behind, unable to make a move. Nath Clark into the pits to repair his damage.
Yeah, it seemed like he was really struggling on there, and I'm not surprised. It's a shame for Nath Clark. It's going to be both Hasses down in 13 or 14, but with the amount of safety cars we've had already, I wouldn't put it past another one on this opening round.
Absolutely. Although, yeah, it's a shame because there are some tracks where you can drive with that kind of front wing damage and not lose too much time. Unfortunately, this is not one of them. There are so many high-speed corners on this track, and you just lose a massive amount of time. So into the pits he goes to repair that damage, and it's Haas, unfortunately, making up the back of the grid. Is this 2021?
I'm not sure. I don't really want to go back in time though, Ghost.
Well,
maybe coming back to F1 2020, I enjoyed that game.
Oh gosh, that's the wide majority opinion. It's one of the few things that I am with the minority on. I think I wasn't the most outrageous fan of that game, to be honest, but
I just missed the Renault.
That's true, yeah, me too. Me too, man. I missed the pink car as well, the pink Force India. The Racing Point rather, as Short Marcus nearly down the inside of Robinet at the penultimate corner. I think it was just a different line that he takes to the Ferrari, but it nearly resulted in an accidental overtake. But no such thing happened, and Robinet keeps him behind for now. The battle for P8 rages. Vetsku gets a 3-second penalty. How costly is that going to be, I wonder, for the debutant? Ayrton, by the way, he's still 2 seconds behind. He hasn't caught that much at all on the the Williams driver. So I do wonder if there's some slight damage that's not visible on that Aston Martin. Usually I would have my telemetry to tell me that, but unfortunately my laptop had an issue and I can't move it around anymore. So
perhaps I'll ride on board for a little bit. See, I think he doesn't seem all too sluggish, but I don't know. Perhaps he is. Like, it's hard to tell. I've not raced in a long time.
Yeah, it can be hard to tell with these things.
See how he goes through this corner, perhaps. This might tell us. And... that looked pretty safe to me.
Okay. Well, we will see. That gap to Vetsku is just staying very stable, which again surprises me, given the gap between them in qualifying. Short Marcus, meanwhile, has gotten past Robinet as Donev into the pits, but he's gotten a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. And again, how costly is that going to be for the Alpine driver? Obviously, those mediums are not going to go all the way to the end, so we might see Speed and Martin come in for a pit stop, which is going to mean that Myra is in with a real chance of winning this race. Avi as well is right behind, so we can't count anyone out for winning this race at this point. NER Ayrton is there as well. So it's all up in the air. Denev's put on another set of the medium tyres. Speed gets a 3-second time penalty for track limits. You do not see that very often, as it's a 3.2 second gap to Martin. If he's not going to pit again, he's got to keep that gap up.
Meanwhile, NER Ayrton has closed in by about 7/10 on Vetsku, so the pace is coming back from Ayrton at the moment, and could throw a spanner in the works, but like you say, Moira is looking very hot at the moment with the way things are shaking up just now, and Avi as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You really can't tell at the moment who's in with a shot at winning the race. It's because you don't know who's going to pit. We don't know whether Avi's going to have a move on Myra. We don't know if Ayrton is going to catch up. It's all very much up in the air. Short Marcus is there as well. But Robinet is managing to stick with the Alfa Romeo, so the Frenchman doing well at his home Grand Prix at the moment after a disastrous start. He will be happy to be back in the top 8. As speed does come in, so I wonder if Martin's going to do the same. I don't know if all the other drivers on mediums as well, like Myra and all the way downwards, are they going to come in too? It's tough to say at the moment. Donev is all the way down to 11th, so speed is going to come out, I would imagine, just behind him, as the Alpine, it looks like, is about to overtake Alfred Chow. Amir into the pit, so I think we've got another pit stop to go for everyone here.
Interesting to see if anybody tries the softs. Amir's in, he's got a wing change, that's going to cost him some time, but he's on the mediums.
So yeah, I'm not too sure if the medium runners are going to stop again. There's 10 laps to go. You've got to go 18 laps on them. You would think they're going to be tough to drive on towards the end, but it's difficult to say. I haven't driven on France in a while, and especially since the update where they gave you 2 sets of mediums. So it's difficult to tell here in the commentary box. I'm sure the drivers know what they're doing, but yeah, it can be hard, as Ayrton has closed in on Vetsku now. 6/10 is the gap, and I think that move is going to be made pretty soon.
Martin displaying not the best use of his, not the best ERS management there, as he's got about 5% left, nobody near him. He should be trying to save some of that, I think, as on the main lane off the circuit. Again, it is such a shame for the previous Tier 2 champion. He's been lapped now. There's no going back from that.
That's really unfortunate, and he's got to let everyone through as well with the blue flags. Martin is into the pits, so that is all of the front 3 into the pits for fresh tyres. Donev 8.
Softs for Martin.
Oh, softs, he's gone for it. He has gone for it.
5 seconds, he's got to serve a penalty though, it seems. Or maybe not, I don't know. The game was being weird, as it normally is. Still showing me as if he's in his pit box.
Okay, that's weird. Well, onto the softs he goes. The main wing.
Still doing it.
Oh goodness me. Thank you for this. Ayrton, meanwhile, right behind Vetsku. I think this is going to be where the move will be made. There's no ERS on your wagon for the Williams driver. I don't think he's going to put up much of a fight here. No, the debutant, he's not going to fight the reigning champion on his debut race. And fair enough, absolutely, I would do exactly the same. So he's having a good race, there's no need to ruin it. And he's just going to try and stay with the Aston Martin as Ayrton now goes on the charge for the race win.
Racing Real, DNF, he's retired in the pit lane.
Ah, that's a shame.
That is a shame indeed. That's both AlphaTauris out now. We've lost both AlphaTauris and both McLarens.
Wow, so not a good start to the season for either of those two teams. Ayrton is 3.3 seconds behind the top two. All of these drivers are on the same set of tyres, 9 laps old. Short Marcus on 8-lap-old tyres, but he's 3 seconds back from Vetsku, so he's going to struggle to get in this fight, although he will be happy to recover to the top 5, I think, after what happened earlier. We've got about 8 laps to go. Those mediums, I think, are going to be very tired by the end of this race as the main Wayne goes through. Oh, is that Nath Clark who's gone for a spin? No, it is the main Wayne. It's a very sad affair for him today. It's just, after that crash, he just has never recovered. And I know the feeling. Once you get involved in a crash, you just lose all your momentum, and from then on, it's difficult. Although, I've just had a thought, he may well have rear wing damage. It was a big hit.
Yes, that is also possible. Racing Real leaving the session, that's fine. Vetsku's gone very deep on the exit of the chicane in the sector 2 there. So he's following Ayrton. Ayrton's not dropped him, and Ayrton's not caught Avi much either.
No.
So maybe he does have damage, but it's just, we can't see it.
Yeah, I think that's a good possibility.
Maybe some side pod damage. Simulation damage is very finicky.
Yeah. I mean, you would expect Ayrton to be catching these guys at a rate of knots, but at the moment it's not turning out that way. So you have to suspect that something is wrong with his car. Although that's a huge chunk of time he just took out of Avi. So perhaps a mistake, or maybe just Ayrton putting the pace back on. But Vetsku desperately trying to stay with him because he doesn't want to lose too many positions to that track limits penalty that he's got. At the moment he'd only go down to P5, and I think he'd be happy with that on a debut race, as Martin sets the fastest lap on the softs, unsurprisingly.
Yeah, certainly. So I'd be happy if Vetsku did finish quite high up. It's always good to get the ball rolling and start yourself finishing in a good position on your debut, especially. But it looks like it's at the moment, as things stands, Myra and Avi are your race leaders, with Avi chasing after Myra. This is almost a repeat of the race just gone with Brendan and Lifebout chasing one another. Just add a bit of rain into the mix and you've almost got the exact situation.
Yeah, and move about, what is that, about maybe 700 miles northeast?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a two-way battle at the front. Ayrton's still 3.5 behind them. But I wouldn't put it past him to suddenly shift into another gear and catch that back up, so you've got to keep a side eye on that gap. I think Ayrton's better, much better than them in the last few corners, but he has been losing that time in Sector 1, at least on the last couple laps. We'll see if it happens again, but Vetsku is just about staying with the reigning champion at the moment.
We've got another, it's that
the main Wayne, I think.
That's main Wayne again. Yeah. Really just not having the race.
I think there's definitely rear wing damage on that half.
Yeah, must be.
So I do feel for him. It's impossible to drive with rear wing damage on this game. It really is. So credit to him for soldiering on to get some points for his team. He will get 7 points for the team as it stands, so, you know, it's well worth it. Speed gets himself another time penalty meanwhile. He's really struggling to stay within track limits. That's 6 seconds of penalties on that Ferrari, and he's not going to gain any positions doing that as Donev gets himself into 6th place now. So the drivers who pitted, or at least Donev, is charging up the grid. 2.2 to short Marcus. There's about 5.5 laps to go. Could Donev manage to catch Vetsku and Ayrton, I wonder, before the end? He is driving very, very well. 5-lap-old mediums compared to 12-lap-old. And I think by the end of the race, those 12-lap-old mediums are going to start screaming. So it's every possibility that Donev can get himself a podium here.
Yeah, it certainly is. And yeah, Ayrton's definitely losing time in sectors 1 and 2. I think the focus on straight line speed is what's helping them, as Moira and Avi are essentially pulling each other along, especially with the DRS being available on that Mercedes as well.
Yeah, definitely. That DRS really helping Avi. Ayrton, Vetsku gets himself another time penalty. Oh no, that's not what you want to see. Donev also has one, which is important, an important detail. It means he has a 5-second penalty, of course, for speeding in the pit lane. I remember now. So that's going to be a huge, huge disappointment for him, and he's going to be kicking himself if he does manage to get himself on the podium on track, because he's going to lose it again after that penalty. As Vetsku, right behind Ayrton, going down the straight. I think you're right, Sumo. I think it's the DRS that's causing the top two to be able to pull away from Ayrton in this part of the track, because Vetsku really close to the reigning champ through there, but no ERS on that Williams.
Yeah, I think it's an issue with France. I think if you're sort of on your own and all the cars sort of around you have DRS, but you're sort of the one car that's in no man's land, you kind of just don't really gain anything, especially if you're the chasing car. I mean, if Avi was to drop out of DRS, then maybe Ayrton might start catching up, but there's less and less time for that to happen. It seems like Moira's found some pace, and Avi is sort of teetering, but he's managing to stay in it for now.
Yeah,
I don't think he's got it this lap, actually.
He did have it, but he closed it again because we've got another safety car. It's another safety car out. What's happened?
That out.
No one's crashed.
Martin's in the pits. What's debris? Maybe.
Maybe the main Wayne had a spin.
Strange.
That is very odd. I have no idea what caused that, but Myra and Avi are going to be absolutely furious with that, because now Ayrton is going to be right behind them, and we're going to have a 2 or 3 lap shootout for the race win very late on. Who's going to come in for softs? That's the big question. It's lap 24 of 27. It will come in on the next lap, because it has to give you 2 laps of racing. So we'll have 26 and 27 to race. This is a big decision. Who is going to come into the pits? We all... everyone slows down as the race is neutralised once again. I have no idea what caused that safety car. It's good news for Donev as well. As Speed Alcoholic could be in with a shot as well here. Although with those 6 seconds of penalties and Donev's 5 seconds, they may struggle. Alfred Chow in the pits for softs, of course, but what about Myra? What is the Red Bull driver going to do? Huge decision for the Finn. Into the pits? Yes, into the pits comes the Red Bull. Avi follows. Ayrton stays out. Ayrton has stayed out on the 14-lap-old mediums. Vetsku into the pits for softs. Has Ayrton made a huge blunder here? I think he may well have done. 14-lap-old mediums against everyone else who's going to be on the softs. Donev has stayed out, so it's going to be a top 2 shootout between Ayrton and Donev again. Who would have guessed that? Speed Alcoholic is back to P3 as well. Myra has put on a set of mediums. What? That must be a misclick. Avi is on the softs as you'd expect, as is everyone else, although Martin has done exactly the same. Both Red Bulls misclicking, not selecting their soft tyres, so they're going to really struggle the last 2 laps. There's going to be no DRS enabled. Ayrton, I can't believe I'm saying this, Ayrton has got an amazing chance to win this race again.
He certainly does. I left for like 2 seconds and everything has changed.
Yeah.
But yeah, these guys, strange that Myra didn't choose the softs. That has to have been a misclick, like you say. And I've done that many times and I'm normally fuming when that happens.
Yes, Jeff has been blamed many a time.
That's Mark now.
Well, it is Mark now, but in the past, Jeff was the man to blame. Safety car, as we said, will be in this lap, but my initial response to Ayrton staying out was that it was a blunder. I'm not so sure anymore, because Deneuve and Speed both have penalties. Myra's on mediums. Avi, the next soft runner is Avi, but he's 4 places behind the Aston Martin, and there's only 2 laps, so we don't have any DRS or anything. I can't see Ayrton losing this race now.
Oh, Vetsky's got track limits. Oh.
Yeah, 2 sets of track limit penalties, so he's going to drop big time. He's going to be another man that's furious with this safety car. Deneuve staying out really surprises me, because he's got that 5-second penalty. He could have gotten rid of it and just gone for it on the softs. It looks like Ayrton's gone. He has, and he's caught Deneuve sleeping, as he usually does, Ayrton. He's so good at these safety car restarts. It looks like Robinet and Martin, a bit of argy-bargy between the two of them, but we are off again, and Ayrton tries to hold on to this lead with 16 lap-old medium tyres. Lap 26 of 27, 2 to go. We will not have DRS. How long can Ayrton hold on? Can he hold on between him and Myra? That's the key, because Myra is the only one without a penalty in the top 4 other than Ayrton. So all Ayrton's got to do is keep that Red Bull behind, and in 2 laps I can't see Myra making all that much progress to try and challenge Ayrton.
No, nor Avi either, despite being on the soft tyres. He's got a few cars to navigate as well, unless Deneuve starts really putting the pressure on, and he is. He might have no choice but to overtake.
Here he goes. No, he's not going to go for it. He backs out again. Same with Myra, right behind Speed Alcoholic, but Myra knows that he's got to make this move as soon as possible. Avi's right behind as well. What about Deneuve? Here comes the Alpine down the inside for the race lead. As we go down towards this left-hander and another long left-hander to come, Deneuve is into the lead of the race. Ayrton down to 2nd place. Speed Alcoholic under huge pressure from Myra, as Myra tries to hold off Avi as well. Vetsku's there too. Avi down the inside, maybe. No move made there from the Mercedes, and Myra is just seeing this race slip away. It could have been a simple win for the Red Bull, and it was looking like it was going to be, but this late safety car and a huge gamble from Ayrton looks like it's going to pay off as the Red Bull struggles to get past Speed Alcoholic. Final lap of the race, everyone within such a small margin. Deneuve is leading the race by over a second now from Ayrton. I don't think he's going to pull 5 though, as we've got contact further back. Oh no, sorry, that's Main Wayne spinning again, but here comes Myra right behind Speed. He can see the target just ahead, that Aston Martin. That's what he needs to overtake to win, but here comes Avi down the inside. The Mercedes up to P4 on the soft tyres, and could Avi win this race? Short Marcus is out. What's happened there? Myra and Shawn Marcus have come together. The Alfa Romeo, its 2nd crash, caught up in of the evening, and he is out the race. He's going to be fuming with that. Ayrton just about ahead of Speed. Here comes Avi though on those soft tyres. Is there enough time for the Mercedes driver to win this race? It's all happening here as Speed Alcoholic tries to go around the outside of the Aston Martin, coming through the final few corners now into the final sector. Deneuve is 2.4 ahead, but it's not going to matter because of the penalty as Speed holds off Avi, and Avi is not going to get a chance to win this race. Somehow Ayrton is going to come away with the victory here, I think, as we come through the final few corners. Deneuve is coming through the last corner now to cross the line first, but the penalty is going to drop him back. Ayrton is somehow, some way going to win this race, and that's what champions do. They somehow find ways to win. Deneuve takes it on track, but it's NER Ayrton who wins the first race of the season. Avi comes home in P2. Deneuve does manage to finish third in the end. Martin fourth. It's a good result for Red Bull, but Myra is going to be furious. No front wing even on that Red Bull. I wonder what happened. But the Finnish driver is going to be absolutely gutted. It looked like this win was in the bag, and suddenly a safety car for seemingly no reason, and that is Myra's chance at winning gone, and it's 5th place.
Wow, to go back to that incident, so Avi went up the inside, which drove Myra wide, and Myra had a very sort of poor exit, maybe because of Avi's very late intrusion, which sent Myra onto a point where he had to try and catch the car, and in doing so, the Alfa Romeo had to, couldn't avoid in time when contact was made, and unfortunately, it was hard enough to take out the Alfa Romeo, but keep Myra in the race.
Yeah, Myra's going to be fuming. Short Marcus will be fuming, but somehow Ayrton is on the top step of the podium. I do not know how that has happened, but it has, and we're going to have to go back and see what caused the safety car, because it didn't look like there was a yellow flag on track at all, and no one crashed, so that's very, very odd. But there we go. I'm sure the stewards are going to have plenty to look at, but yeah, there we go. I'll let you run through the order, Simon.
Well, NER Ayrton, in some miraculous display, has found himself on the top step of the podium when it was set to go the way of the Finnish driver Myra. Avi and Deneuve flank him on either side of the podium, with Martin finishing in P10, quite fittingly, with Myra rounding off the top. P10? No, P4, what am I talking about? P5, you think I'd be good at these now? I've done them loads of times. But anyway, Robin A. Homogene finishes in P6, the local Frenchman, with Vetsku on debut P7, Speed Alcoholic P8, Premier P9, Alfred Chow P10, Leif Clark finishing P11, with Short Marcus being thingy, and I didn't get time to finish it, but a number of other drivers didn't finish the race, including Racing Wheel, Max, and all sorts of others. Yes, that wasn't my best run through of a grid, but we'll brush that one under the carpet. It's been double streams for the first day back.
Yeah, no problem at all. Yeah, Short Marcus at least was classified, so yes. We'll score some points. And then the main Wayne, it did manage to reach the checkered flag and score some points for Haas. So I think not driver of the day, but honorary driver of the day for the main Wayne, just for sticking with it, or with the rear wing damage. It must have been absolutely soul crushing to drive all of those laps. But he did it to get the points, and he's done it well. But other than that, a lot of DNFs, a few huge incidents, but let's think about driver of the day there, Sumo. Who do we think?
Oh, driver of the day. Let me go back and have a look at the standings. Finished. Robin A did very well to get through the carnage and finish in P6, but.
I mean,
I'm not sure. I think Ayrton might just get it, just because of how miraculously lucky he was.
Well, yes. I think it's tough to say, really, isn't it? Because
there's a few good contenders in there.
There are a few contenders. It's all about. I mean, if Deneuve hadn't got that 5-second penalty, it would be clear Deneuve driver of the day, but that pit lane speeding penalty cost him the win, and so it's difficult to give him driver of the day for that. Who else was on the podium? It was Avi. Oh, I think for me it's Avi or Ayrton. I think you you almost don't want to give driver of the day to Ayrton in ESRL, but I think it's got to happen today because that incident wasn't his fault at all. Got caught up in it, got the front wing damage all the way to the back, got some fortune with the safety car as we come to expect from Ayrton, really. But you know, it takes a good driver to take their fortune and keep what they had. It takes a champion to turn their fortune into a miraculous race win, and that inspired decision to stay out on the what must have been absolutely dead medium tyres, and managing to take the win. I think it has to go to Ayrton.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I think, champions drive. Yes,
definitely. But we've got Nath Clark in the chat saying that Ayrton could be in trouble, so maybe some stewards shenanigans will happen.
I think they're going to have a busy evening.
Yes, I think so. You know, we can only call what we see, and I think for us, Ayrton has to get the driver of the day and a win to open off the season, which I'm sure he'll be delighted with after that race. So, congratulations to the reigning champ on starting the season just like he ended the last one, and it's going to be very difficult to really do anything about him this season if he continues like this.
Yeah, certainly. So he'll be a force to be reckoned with.
Absolutely. Well, I think that is us done for today. Thank you everyone for watching. And thank you to Sumo for joining him in the box once again. It's been a while, and it's fantastic to share the box with you once more. So I hope everyone enjoyed the race. We'll be back next week for more ESRL, and also me and Sumo will be commentating on APPF1 Tier 2 on Tuesday. If you can catch that, I do get permission to plug APP. So, but yes. Anyways, and if you're looking to drive in Tier 2, there are spaces free. But anyway, regardless, thank you all very much for watching. It was great fun to commentate on ESRL again. I'm very much looking forward to the rest of the season. It's going to be a great one, and thank you very much for joining me, Sumo.
It's been a pleasure, as always.
So that will do us for tonight. Have a good evening, everyone, and a good rest of your weekend. I have been Ghost.
I've been Sumo.
And we'll see you next week for more ESRL. Goodbye, everyone.